JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 4th of October, 2021. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this first Monday of October. So guys, I hope you are having a wonderful start of this month, of course. Before we jump into the charts, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, guys. So the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So I've removed all the drawings just to have a fresh look at it. But I mean, from the first view, from the first glance, you can see that it is declining, and it is suffering here, and we're seeing a nice decline and a move, and it seemed like it's now aiming for the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line, because we've overcame the 20. We fell below the 21-day EMA, and then we fell below the 100-day EMA after we found some support here on Thursday. On Thursday, on Friday, and today we continue to drift lower, and it seems now the path is holding. The path seems to be kind of getting cleared for a test of this 200-day EMA. However, let's quickly put a few drawings here. So one of the things that to keep in mind here is this downside line taken from the high of the 18th of March, and as you can see, we are kind of we have approached that line, and this is exactly where we found support, and this downside line this time acted as a nice area of support here, and so let's see how it's going to continue trading in relation to this downside line, because as you remember a while ago I mentioned that sometimes when we get a nice good break of a downside line or an upside one, we then kind of, let's say, go higher or move lower respectively, of course. We kind of sometimes come back and retest that line from and it may act as, in this for example case, it could act as a nice area of support from where the index could rebound. However, we do have some other lines here to keep in mind, and one of which is this one right here, taken from the high of the 14th of September. So long story short, basically, at the moment, in the near term, we have a bit of a down move here, downtrend. So we'll be very careful. However, like I said, if this downside line drawn from the high of the 18th of March does somehow provide a bit of support, maybe a small little rebound here could be possible, and then we'll just take it from there. But if this downside line, the index drops below this downside line again, then it could open the door towards even lower areas, and of course we'll keep an eye on that 200-day EMA. But if that gets cleared as well, I mean it could be the path only to the downside for this one. So let's keep an eye on this downside line right now. Let's see if it somehow does provide a bit of support. but yeah, if we do rebound here, then be very careful with this other downside line taken from the high of the 14th of September, and then yeah, of course we'll take it from there. We'll see how it performs here, but for now all eyes are in this little area right here. Shanghai Composite, so that one's interesting, and yep, I also removed all the lines just to have a fresh look at it. This one's a little bit more difficult because basically, yes, we do have this little steep downside line right here taken from the high of the 14th of September, which is still kind of is respected, but at the same time we also have this other tentative, but this one is an upside line taken from the low of the 28th of July, and yep, as you can see, that one is also respected, and actually I wouldn't say that it's a tentative one, it's just your normal average short-term upside line taken from the low of the 28th of July, and at the moment we're kind of stuck in between these two lines. So that means that basically for now, we need to keep an eye on these two lines and basically wait for a break through one of those in order to consider the next short-term directional move. So yep, for now keep your eyes on it. For the downside also, what you can do here is not only to keep an eye on the break of this upside line, but also wait for maybe a drop below the low of last week near the 3,518 level. This way a forthcoming lower low would be confirmed. And like I said, for the upside, yes, a break of this downside line could do the trick for more buyers, and because then we could be back above all of our EMAs here on the daily chart. But again, at the moment, like I said, the game is to kind of to wait. I can see chat room here. Erica, yep. Good morning to good morning to as well. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful start of this this day. But yeah, coming back to the charts here, guys. The German index DAX. So on Friday, we drifted lower and we closed in negative territory, although you can see that there was an attempt to recover somewhat. So basically we have tested the lowest point of September, which was around the 15,019 territory. We even overshot that, and we even fell below the psychological 15,000 zone. We came very close to test the 200-day EMA, but just fell shy by a few points here from doing that. But that was enough, I think, for the bulls, and they quickly picked up on it and drove the index back up. However, like I said, they failed to close it in positive territory. So long story short, we are below this upside line, the one that I talked about previously, but because it kind of got violated now a few times, let's get rid of it, because now we'll just we'll focus on this little downside line taken from the high of the 31st of August, yep, in a way, even if we see a bit of a larger, let's say, correction at some point, maybe, then yep, I mean correction to the upside, and well, still that could be classed as a correction if this downside line remains intact. However, looking at the cash index right now, we'll see that the price actually is drifting back down again. So in other words, these two levels, and what by these two levels I mean the 15,019 zone, which is the lowest point of September, and the 14,984 level, which is the current lowest point of October. If these two hurdles surrender, then certainly yes, this could open the door towards lower levels, especially also if the index falls below the 200-day EMA, and yep, that's going to be very interesting to see if it can, or should I say, how far it can travel south, because at the moment one of the areas that I'm going to keep an eye on here, of course, is this one, the lowest point of May of this year, near the 14,816. That's going to be my next target if the price falls below that 200-day EMA. But the next target could be this one right here, near the low of the 15th of March, and that's approximately around the 14,409 zone. That's going to be my next target if the index falls below this 14,816 zone. For now, like I said, let's keep an eye on this territory, this support zone that I mentioned between the 14,983 and the 15,019 levels, and then we'll of course take it from there. If by any chance the index starts climbing back up, well, one of the areas to keep in mind maybe could be this one right here, the low of the 30th of September and near the high of the 1st of October, and that area is approximately around that 15,246, or maybe we can round it up, maybe even towards the 15,250. So if we pop back above it, then we could go for a bit of a larger correction here to the upside, because, well, we're still trading below this downside line, so any move up to that downside line could be classed as a temporary correction. Now jumping into NASDAQ 100, and here you can see that also on Friday the index did drift lower initially, but the bulls did pick it up near the 14,555 level and managed to push the index back above the 100-day EMA, shown here is the green line. And as you can see, so far this EMA does its job. It is somehow providing that support overall. But yeah, of course, keeping in mind what's happening right now with the cash indices, we are seeing the NASDAQ cash index declining a little bit again, and it's it's currently trading at around 14,688 territory. So basically we are somewhere around here, somewhere near this 100-day EMA again. So let's see how that's going to play out today. However, if you're a little bit more on the cautious side in terms of the downside, then wait for a drop below the, well, let's call it the current lowest point of October, near the 14,555 level. A nice good break below it, yes, would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. But of course, like I said, that's the day is just kind of slowly starting. We still need to go through the European session, and we'll keep an eye on that one. But then, of course, all eyes are on the US opening bell, and well, let's see how this index is going to play out. So far, I will say like this, that if we drop below the 14,555 territory, then yes, I'll get a little bit more comfortable with the downside, because at the moment, if by any chance this 100-day EMA somehow continues to provide support, well, maybe a bit of a retracement here back to the upside could be possible. Dollar index, so good run last week. You can see here. So let me just mark this high. That was the highest point of September, near the 94.50 level. We've managed to reach that, and then we started correcting back down. Now, of course, we do have some of these upside lines here, tentative of course, but nevertheless we can keep those on the chart. So we have some steep ones like this one, for example, which could also provide support. So at the moment, I would say maybe this little kind of move lower is just seen as a temporary correction before another possible leg of buying, and especially if this upside line, the steeper one taken from the low of the 16th of September, if it provides support, then yes, we could see a nice rebound here and a push higher. Also, one thing to keep in mind, that maybe we're seeing a nice little flag here forming. So we have a nice little pole. It's not maybe an ideal flag here, because again, it's a little way too steep here. The correction is way too steep here. So normally we get like something a little bit more flat, and then push higher. But again, let's see if that's going to play out. So far, like I said, it is looking a little bit more positive than negative. But again, for those who are a little bit on the cautious side, what you can do here is keep your eyes on that 94.50 level, the one which is the highest point of September. And then yes, if that gets broken, the next target is the highest point of September of 2020, and that's roughly around that 94.74 level. I do understand it's only like around 24, 25 points here, but again, that's quite an important level. The next target after that is this the lowest point of June of 2020, and that's near the 95.72 level. And then, of course, we'll take it from there. If this steep upside line gets broken, then certainly we'll slowly start maybe aiming lower here towards the other upside lines here, but we'll get to that point if we get that break here. Gold. Also removed all the drawings. Now, here we have a bit of a tricky situation here. So on one hand, yes, the commodity is still trading below all of its EMAs. On the other hand, we do have a downside line which got broken in a way. So yep, so this downside line taken from the high of the 3rd of September got broken. We got broken initially on Friday. Today, yep, we had another push higher. And yeah, so far, I mean, we could say that yes, we could go for maybe for some higher levels. But to be honest, I'd rather be safe than sorry on this one, and I would rather wait for maybe a push somewhere above this 1787 territory, or at least above this barrier, the 1776 level here, marked by the high of the 23rd of September. Because if we clear that, then yes, so we could slowly start grinding higher, and like I said, we could then aim for that 1787 level, or maybe this 1809 zone. And then we'll, like I said, we'll gradually just keep on aiming for higher levels. But initially, like I said, at least a push above the 1776 territory would be required for the downside. Now, of course, a push back below this downside line, and maybe also a drop somewhere below the 1745 territory, which is marked by the inside swing high here of the 29th of September. And yep, if we drop below it, then we could consider maybe some moves here towards the lowest point of September, near the 1721 zone, and then we'll slowly take it from there. Because if it gets broken, then certainly this confirms a forthcoming lower low, and more sellers could join in. Now jumping into WTI oil, and here we have a nice good push to the upside. So we're currently let's see if this is not going to end up being somewhat of a double top here for now. But first of all, let me just refresh the chart here and just have a brand new look at it, and of course we're keeping an eye on this high, the highest point of this year so far, the current highest point of this year, near the 76.95 zone, in order to aim for some higher levels. Certainly a break of that barrier is needed. Until then, I'm going to be very careful, just because we already had quite a decent up move here, so maybe wait for a clear move above that 76.95 level first, and then yes, we could go for some upside. But if this upside line gets broken and the price falls somewhere below this 73.11 zone, which is, as you can see, acted as a nice area of resistance back here on the 15th of September, but then good support on the 30th of September. And if that gets broken, then this may lead to a little change here of the short-term trend, and change of direction of the short-term trend, and we could see a move to the downside. So let's see how that's going to play out. And then my next target is near the 69.42 level, which is conveniently near that 108 EMA as well. So let's see, like I said, let's see which way that one's going to break out to. Jumping into Bitcoin very quickly here, so let me also refresh the chart. So last week, a good move higher, as you can see here, a nice little rebound, and the rebound happened from the area around the 40,804 zone, a level approximately around there. So yep, we climbed back up. We found resistance near this high of the 18th of September. Actually, we overshot that by just a little bit on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there we go, on Sunday. So at the moment, I mean, looking at this picture, this might be seen as a nice bullish flag here. We have our pole, we have our little kind of flag here forming with this little kind of consolidation area. But again, if you're looking for some upside, then well, at least wait for a push above this little resistance area right here, the one that I just mentioned. So basically that 49,000, maybe 200, let's round it up here a little bit. So the 49,200 zone, a nice good pop above it, yep, may open the door towards higher levels. Then we could aim for that 52,888 zone, which is the highest point of September, and then we'll slowly take it from there. For the downside, well, on this occasion, I would say maybe somewhere drop below this hurdle, the 45,164.65 zone, could maybe do the trick here for a few more sellers. However, we do have this upside line right here, taken from the low, the 20th of July, which in a way could still provide a bit of support. So in other words, even if we drop below this 45,165 territory, this move lower could be classed as a temporary correction. So yep, let's see like I said how this is going to play out. But at the moment, like I said, this little picture here seems to be like a bullish flag. However, wait for that confirmation break. Always wait for that confirmation break, guys. Now jumping into a few pairs and AUDJPY, good move higher, or should I say, good attempt to stay afloat, because as you can see, it did kind of feel a bit of weak last week at some point, but basically what I will say here is that in a way we are stuck here in between these two lines. So basically what we are forming here, a possible triangle pattern. Well, so far it looks like that. So in other words, as long as it stays inside that formation, we will take a bit of a neutral stand on this one and wait for a violation of one of the sides in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the next short-term directional move. So yep, for now, like I said, that's the kind of game plan. So unfortunately, of course, sometimes not everybody likes to wait here, but probably the better option is to just to kind of wait for that confirmation break. NZD/USD here, you can see a nice recovery little at the end of last week. However, that still wasn't enough for the for the pair to end the week in positive territory, and also we are trading below some of these downs. Well, actually, this one of this downside lines here, tentative of course, but nevertheless a downside one. And yep, so even if we climb a little bit higher, if this whole area here provides resistance together with the this little hurdle here, the 0.6982, which is marked by the low of the 23rd of September, then yep, another possible slide could be possible. So something like this here could happen. There we go. Where we could then aim for that lowest point of last week near the 0.6860 level. For the upside, then yes, of course, a break of this little downside line would be needed. Maybe more buyers could join in. However, we do have this other downside line that we need to kind of keep in mind. This one's taken from the high of the 25th of February of this year. So in a way, even if we break this little short-term one, this short-term downside line, it could open the door towards this other downside line taken from the high of the 25th of February. And then, yeah, we will, of course, take it from there, and still this move here, and this, if we fill up this territory right here, then yes, it could be classed as a temporary correction. USD CAD very quickly on that one. So we are stuck here near this upside line. So far it's doing its job. This upside line taken from the low the 1st of June. Yes, we keep getting these little false breakouts, but overall, I mean, this upside line is the one to watch at the moment. Let's see if it does the trick again. However, if you remember last week, in the beginning of last week, I told you to keep an eye on this area right here. This is where when I was covering USD CAD in the beginning of last week, I told you that if we rebound here and move higher, but then we find maybe resistance somewhere here, then we could maybe see a drift back down, and if so, then maybe, just maybe, this little area right here could, this little pattern here could be seen as a possible head and shoulders pattern, and with the neckline being somewhere in between these levels here, roughly between the 1.2583 and the 1.26 territory. So in other words, maybe the 1.26 actually could be the more attractive level to keep an eye on. And if we drop below that, then yes, not only that we would be already below this upside line, but also, yep, we would be breaking the so-called neckline here. But again, let's see if that's going to play out here. At the moment, like I said, it's a tricky one because we are stuck near this upside line. We're stuck still above this 200-day EMA, but if we fall somewhere below this 1.26 territory, then, well, we could look at this one as a possible head and shoulders pattern. And of course, also keep your eyes on WTI oil. If that starts popping higher, then yes, we could see USD CAD drifting lower here. GBP USD, nice little recovery. Let's see where it found support. It found support near this 1.3412 territory. Now we're seeing a nice good move higher. We are still trading below some of these downside lines here, but in particular I'm looking at this one right now, this one taken from the high of the 14th of September. So if it somehow provides resistance, then yes, another slide could be possible. So keep that in mind. If this downside line gets broken and we see the rate climbing above, somewhere above this 1.3610 zone, then we could go for a bit of a larger correction to the upside. And finally, EURUSD, similar story. We are still below this downside line, this tentative downside line, of course, taken from the high of the 1st of June, but also we are stuck, I think, between below this one right here. Let me just quickly put this one nicely on the chart here. So yep, this steep tentative downside resistance line as well. Again, if we oh, by the way, first of all, I want to say that this 1.16 territory got tested. This is what I was targeting initially, if you remember, in the beginning of last week when I talked about this one. And not only we managed to test it, we also managed to overcome it a little bit and find support near this 1.1563 territory. So in other words, we could see a push higher here. We could see maybe a test of this steep downside line, but if it holds, then another slide could be possible. However, to be a little bit more on the safe side, maybe a drop below last week's low near the 1.1563 could do the trick for a few more sellers here. And then yes, we could start maybe aiming somewhere for this little territory right here. And let me just put this one on the chart, the 1.1422. But again, let's go slowly on this one, step by step. And if we do see a drop below this 1.1563 territory, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, could potentially attract more sellers into the game. For the upside, I need to see a break of this steep downside line taken from the high of the 14th of September, and then we could go for a larger correction to the upside. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys. Your reviews, your likes, your comments, really do. So thank you for that. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.